Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again. So today we're going to continue our afternoon session, and our speaker for today is Dr. Frederick Pagalan Obniala, and he will be talking about teaching science to English language learners and online instruction.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, thank you. So let me share my presentation. Okay, can you see my presentation? So good afternoon once again. So let me introduce first myself. I am Frederick Pagalan Obniala, and currently I am teaching in Vithaya School as a junior science high school in the English in the intensive program for Matayum 1 or for grade 7. So for this afternoon, I will be talking to you uh, the topic that I already presented. I think this was last year or only this year. So my topic for this afternoon will be about teaching science to English language learners or ELLS and online instruction. So thank you very much, Dr. Andy, and to our board members and to the organizers of this international conference for the Gen TEFL. So what is the objectives? The objectives for my presentation for today will be uh, talking about the challenges and opportunities in teaching science to ELS, provide ways, approaches in teaching science to ELS, and integrate English language development in teaching science. So what will be my presentation content? My presentation content will be what is ELLS? What are the factors contributing on the classroom diversity with ELL? ELL's challenges during the inquiry science instructions. What are the current practices in the field of science education in teaching science for the English language learner? And then what are the English language learning strategies and activities for teaching science? And then what could be the practical implication of this one in TESOL when it comes to the kinder K to 12 curriculum? So let me first discuss to you what is uh, ELLS. So an ELLS is an English language learner. So it's repair or refer to the individual who were not born in the United States or whose language or native language is not English. So this is talking about mostly those countries that are English is not their primary mother tongue. Like for example, we Filipinos, okay, so English is not our mother tongue. Our first language is Filipino, okay? And then the second one is came from an environment where language other than English is dominant. And the third is who came from the environment where language other than English has had significant impact on their level of English proficiency. And then what are the factors that can contribute on the improvements or those diversity of the ELS according to Bresson and Fargason in 2019. So these are some of the factors contributing: the race, the culture, the ethnicity, the socioeconomic status, the learning styles, the varied experience, what is their background knowledge, support from home, their levels, skill levels, their readiness, their behavior, and their student proficiency when it comes to English language. So, what are the challenges that as a science teacher faces when we are teaching science in English as an English instruction? So, ELL can experience challenges that may create roadblocks to learning. So, language can be a powerful learning tools during inquiry, promoting the understanding, and promoting the. So for this one, especially those teachers who are teaching abroad and teaching in the Asian countries where English is not a dominant language for the instruction, we are having difficulties, especially when we are doing laboratory experiment or when we are talking to them the science concept in English. So what are those? So ELL faces a threefold challenges during instruction. So the English language learner must learn vocabulary, content specific vocabulary, and the language structures that are used when engaged in inquiry, such as formulating hypothesis, drawing conclusion, making inference, and drawing questions. So the language of science can be confusing for ELL because it may use many words for everyday life having different meaning. So based on my experience in teaching science for both the elementary and the secondary, or I mean from the pratom level to the secondary level, is one of the problem that I face or challenges that I have is for the students to understand the vocabulary. So because in teaching science, especially in English, they have a different meaning when it comes to their own language. So as a teacher, I also need to understand some of the science concept in in Thai, in Thai language. So I also need to integrate every time when I have a new lesson, I need to integrate new vocabulary words that we are going to use. And then I try to explain also it in English and it in Thai language. So for my students to understand. So when we have the discussion, they can easily grasp, they can easily understand what I'm talking to them. Next is what are the current practices in the field of science education when it comes to teaching science to ELL? So there are five themes emerged from the review of the science education literature related to ELL. So the first is the teacher knowledge. So this is talking about what teachers need to know to effectively support ELL in science. So there are four different types of knowledge as being important for an ELL teachers. So the first one is the content knowledge. So definitely understanding the structural component of scientific arguments that claims, grounds, warrant, qualifier, backing, rebuttal, counterclaims according to Shooks in 2016. So the content knowledge, definitely as a science teacher, we should both learn first the concept. So before we enter the classroom, definitely we already know what are the lessons that we are going to teach. We need to understand the content for every level. We need to understand the different competency that we need for them to develop. Okay. So the second one is the linguistic knowledge. A teacher that uses language matches the students' communicative at uh, slightly the student's level of communicative competency. So this is what I'm talking a while ago, that as a science teacher, especially if if we are teaching second language learner and English is not their primary uh, language. So as a teacher, we should also adapt to learn their language. So this linguistic knowledge is not just only talking about the proper way on how to use the grammar or the verb tenses. This is talking about uh, that the teacher should also learn the language that we can communicate with the students. So as a science teacher, we should also learn how to translate some words that are fitted for our students. like like for example, there are some students that are really not familiar with English. So as a teacher, we are having challenges and problems that we face. That the first thing is about how could we let our students understand the concept. Next is the cultural knowledge. So the third is the cultural knowledge, which describe the traditional world views, spiritual relationship with natures, and cooperative styles of interaction. This is according to Brown and Abel in 2007. So aside from the linguistic knowledge, aside from the knowledge or the concept knowledge, we also need to understand the cultural background of the specific place or the specific school, because there are some cultural differences that we have, that we should be aware when we are talking some specific topic. When I was still teaching when I had this topic about dissection or dissecting frogs. So my students are really afraid on dissecting the frog, because they said that, teacher, the frog is a living things, you don't need to kill that one. So what did my student do is, before they dissect the frog, they chant a prayer, and before they dissecting the frog. So in that one we can see the cultural differences or the cultural knowledge, that there are some topic in science that we need to check first the background, the cultural background. Would it be necessary, or would it be affect the cultural perspective of our students? Next one is the number four, is our pedagogical knowledge. So our familiarity with the variety of pedagogical strategies. So for so the next emerge or themes that we can have is the teacher's action. So what teachers can do to effectively support the ELL science. So this is for the teacher's action. So there are some strategies that we can incorporate during the learning progression. So the first one is prior to knowledge. So we can use the 5 E's in learning cycle. So the first is we engage the students. So we give them the specific uh, concept in their daily life. So we can use that one. So we can give them a challenging questions that we know that they use in everyday life. And then after we engage them, we let them explore, lets them find lets them find the answer. Okay, so the phenomenon, what are the prior knowledge or challenges in ideas that are created? And then the the third one is explain. Let our students explain what is happening, or what are those phenomenon, what are those natural phenomenons that they can explain based on the lesson. And then we elaborate. Let them apply what they learn on the concept. And then the last is we evaluate. So the evaluation is not just only in in assessment, I mean in paper and test assessment, we can also let them assess based on the reflection, based on what they have learned, or based on what uh, impact on their daily lives. And then the second one is the key term. So this one is talking about the development of the vocabulary. So there are some strategies that we can use, like for example, word walls, sentence theme, and sentence frame for argumentation. And then the third one is the graphics, as recommended by the NGSS. Visual representation were recommended as teacher input and students' output. So use graphic as instructional tools requires the teachers unpack the meaning of the complexity of the task for the ELL. Okay. So what should, or what should the teachers do in giving the value for making a visual graphic representation? Okay, so according to Reed et al. In 2015, as a teacher, there should be 5 questions should determine the value of visual. The first is, does the graphic model a system? Is the graphic nears to a relevant text? Does the text refer or reference the graphics? Does the graphic has the descriptive captions? Does the graphics or is caption contributed content knowledge or confuse the reader? Okay, so these are the 5 questions that as a science teacher we, or I should know, or we should know. Okay, especially if we are teaching young learners. So young learners really need a graphic representation, so we should find a presentation or a graphic representation that are relevant for them, and it should be and it also fit on their ages or based on the needs of the students. Next is the third one, is that the third one is, Reed et al. Proposed the 3 recommendation in reducing the cognitive loads of the features, church, or chart, table, and drawing. So the first one is, avoid disjointed graphics and text. Be mindful of graphics with superfluous captions. Teachers, students to identify questions, a, a visual purpose. So the third one is the student knowledge. So what is the prior understanding of the students in the inside the science classroom? So according to Chalk on 2016, emphasize that ELL brings their own unique perspective to the science classroom and the engagement in the evidence-based argumentation. So students, when the students came to our classroom, they have their own opinions, they have their own perspective. So we need to try to understand, or we need to respect those students' perspective when it comes to a different science concept. So still with the students' action. So according to Werta et al. In 2015, quantitative studies of science inquiry notebooks, which is relevance that ELL can demonstrate understanding within science notebook by means of writing, which encompasses pictorial representation, graphs, or written language. So although ELS may struggle to write sentence about scientific observation, they can easily draw what they observe and use academic language to level their drawing, thus making a connect between their understanding, observation, and vocabulary. So this one is also very important for our students if they are not really familiar with the words. So we can let them draw what they have understand or what have they observed. Okay. Next one is, what is the student's need? So students need, so what are the types of learning needs and ESL have? So the first one is English language learner needs to be given an ample opportunities to use their primary language as a tool towards understanding and gaining fluency in academic English. So this is according to Swan et al. In 2014. So like what I mentioned a while ago, that as a teacher, we should address what are the students need when it comes to teaching science, especially in English. like like for example, we need to provide them uh in science vocabulary words that are that are that can be used in the discussion, or when we give them some project or school works that we know that it can help them to understand. Okay, so the next one is English language learner need access to science classroom environments that are embrace language mixing and plurality of register. So ELS need pedagogical support and structures, so we can help them. So the fourth is English language learners need to take on the role of producer of language and scientific knowledge. PF is ELS or English language learner really needs a true dialogue. So for this one, I can give a specific example here is when I try to have my students to do an experiment on a specific topic, I try them to explain it both in Thai and both in language, because there are some students that are not really comfortable in speaking English. So I let them try to speak in their own language first, and then we try to dissect one by one the word and then explain it to them also in English. So what are the strategies that we can do or activities for teaching? So the first one is the EL for listening. So give them videos from YouTube. Okay, so that is what I'm doing with them, especially when I'm presenting new topics. So visualization, so graphic organizer, I make a mind mapping for them. So and then show them some visuals in the internet, coming from the internet. So if I don't have a specific model, so I'll try to find some 3D animation models from the internet and then show them how does it happen. So the interpersonal strategies. So let the students collaborate uh, with with one another or with each other. So try let them give their ideas on the specific topic and then collaborate to their students and then present it in front of the class. So what are the structures? So we should have a consistent routine, roadmap to science, outlines, and relate to prior knowledge. So the laboratory, which is this is one of the very important uh, strategies for a science teacher. So when I'm doing a laboratory experiment, I plan it before. Okay, so 1 week before I do the experiment or the laboratory activities with my students, I presented it to them first through visuals. So they can, so I showed them the steps in pictures or in visuals or in graphics, so they can easily understand what I try to convey. So what will be the concept will be. So those are the things that I'm doing. And then I try also to prepare. So sometimes the instructions on their books are very difficult to understand. So what I'm trying to do is I try to make it simpler. So I try to make the words simpler so for them to understand is easily. So in demonstration, so there should be a clear procedural steps. So like what I said, in demonstration, instead of giving them the text, I also give them the visual aids or the pictures. Model laboratory activities, so like what I said, and then the pictorial models. So in reading and writing, sadly speaking, this quite is a very challenging in the part of a science teacher when you ask your students to make a journal of or an observation of what the experiment happened or the activity, the result of the activity. And then there's science and reading comprehension activities. So in instruction, so we need to give time for the students to think about the answers. Okay, so analogies. So what are the practical implication of the application here of in the TESOL in the K to 12? So according to the constructivist vision of science instruction, as students learn science through joint meaning making and interactive sense making. Science classroom provides a unique challenge for ELS because they need the affordance of graded or grade appropriate academic learning even as they learn English. Both research and practical wisdom suggest that a shift towards more time utilizing practices of science, such as evidence-based argumentation, would benefit the English language learner acquisition of language and conceptual understanding. Using assessment that allows English language learner to demonstrate content knowledge through visual could provide teachers with an evidence of understanding in the absence of language. Teaching science to English language learner requires knowing content, pedagogy, language, as well as culture. Teaching science to ELS require more than isolated strategies. There is no such thing as magic, instructional strategies, or the one right way of teaching English language or English language learners in science. So language learner science activity should include a language production, which is speaking and writing, as well as the language reception, which is listening and reading. So thank you very much. And this is my presentation for teaching science for the English language learner. Thank you very much. And this is Mr. Frederick Obniala. And you can email me if you have any questions. And I also want to invite everyone to join in our special interest group. So this is our QR code if you're students or for those teachers who are teaching science, or if we have attendees or participants who are students who are specialization or science, we are gladly appreciated if you can join us for our special interest group. Thank you very much and have a blessed afternoon.
Are there any questions? Thank you, Dr. Frederick Obniala, for the sharing. And any other questions? So as Dr. Obniala said, if you have other questions, you can send him a message so that he can
Yes, and I will be happily answered all those questions. Thank you very much, Ma'am Eunice. It's nice to see you again here, even though visually, in visual, I mean in virtual. We haven't seen each other for almost how many years, Mom? The last time that we saw each other was 2016, right? Or 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So it's almost 4 years or 5 years. Nice to see you again here, Mom.
Nice to see you too. So there, if you have questions, you can just send it to his email address. And moving on, I think our next speaker is ready. So our next speaker is Mrs. Aprellene Marquez from the Department of Education. She's also the Gen TFL Vice President External Affairs, and I will ask her to introduce herself.
All right, thank you, Miss Ruth. Hello, everyone. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aprellene Marquez, and currently one of the educational technology specialists in the Central Office. Yet I am just a detailed employee there. Though I'm employed in Division of the Union in Region 1. And I'm so glad to be part of this international conference and of course as part of the Gen TFL. Right, so let me share with you my screen. So with that, can you see my screen now? Right.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So um, this this project, the one that I'm going to present with you is an unfinished innovation. It's just implemented this year and has been started this November. So Project Key, the creation of electronic modules in modern town-based multilingual education of K-12 basic education curriculum, a DepEd Commons project innovation. Why DepEd Commons project innovation? So in our unit in DepEd ICTS EdTech, I am the project lead of the DepEd Commons. So what is all about this DepEd Commons? And we know that DepEd Commons is one of the official DepEd platforms that has been used during the pandemic. Okay. So TEFL Commons is an online platform that contains the open educational resources which teachers can use as support materials in teaching learners in virtual classrooms. We all know that we are experiencing this pandemic, which is the COVID-19. The reason why this is one of the profession of the one that we have prepared because as we all know, we are in the virtual class nowadays. Okay, so DepEd Commons, as to DepEd Undersecretary Alain Del Pasqua, is among the main proponents of the DepEd Commons that was created during the second quarter of 2019. That is really good because all the learning materials that has been embedded in this platform, it is already in-house, and it is true that it is free for all, especially for our learners and our teachers. That could be the supplement for the learning and teaching process. Okay, and it has been also served a crucial role, which has served last March 17, 2020. This is to cater the needs of everyone. Okay, and barely a year after it was first activated, it has reached over, remember, over 9.6 million unique users. Because in our Dapad Commons, this platform is powerful tool because it can be it can be accessed by our learners, our teachers, our administrators, and of course, not only for the public users, but of course our private schools. And this is it. On October 19, 2021, DepEd decided it was time to take on the next goal of translating the OERs. We all know that OERs are the open educational resources into dialects that the learners will be understand. And we all know that it is an interactive electronic learning materials under the program, which is Mother Tongue-Based Multilingual Education, or the MTV. What is good in our organization? What is good in Gen TEFL, which I do really appreciate for almost knowing it and since 2015, is that they are not only catering the Englishes, but they also catering the multidisciplinary, right? So which is good that we have given the chance and opportunity to present with you an innovation that is in mother tongue based. And with that, as we go over with our depth commons, as we go over with this platform, we all know that we have to maximize its use. We have to maximize its access. The reason why the only thing that we can see before is that the English subjects, the other subjects, but not in mother tongue. There are some materials or learning materials in the Deped Commons, but not that so rich, unlike in our Filipino and English language. So what we have done, it's just a an idea wherein I thought can we have this? Can we enrich the mother tongue based multilingual education in our DepEd Commons that we can embed? The reason why I simply discussed it with our director of the ICDS and also our head of our unit, wherein we can innovate the different shall I say the different mother tongue based multilingual education, wherein it emphasize on the mother tongue base, wherein we can also preserve the different vernacular. And in fact, it has been embedded in our depth ed order that there are 19 lingua franca. So what I have decided before, it is good that we are going to cater the 19 lingua franca that can be embedded in our depth ed commons. So to start with, we have this pilot testing. So among the 19 lingua franca, I have proposed that we are going to present it first in region 1 and pulling it out with Pangasinan for the San Carlos City division, and for Iloco, we have the division of La Union. So the title was changed afterwards as the vision for the project expanded to cover of all the 19 major lingua franca. So it was renamed Project Key, because before it was just Project Tulbak, because the mother tongue or the Ilocano term for key is Tulbak. Okay, the reason why, just to nationalize it and to make it understand by the different areas, we just renamed it for Project K. So using an English term for the easy understanding of learners in other regions. So Project K connotes finding the solution or giving a response to supplement the vital needs in teaching and learning through the creation of electronic modules in the absence of face-to-face classroom instruction. We all know that we are still doing the virtual classes, wherein we have to produce electronic modules, because I think from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, our teachers are very committed in this passion, wherein they make their own self-learning modules. And take note, it is also contextualized. It is also a teacher made. What we are going to do in this innovation is that those hard copy, those learning materials, we are going to convert it into an electronic modules. Okay. So, as I have said before, Ilocos will be the dialect in the electronic modules for La Union, while Pangasinan will be the dialect for San Carlos City. So, with that, we are going to replicate this project into the remaining 17 lingua franca, wherein we have here the Akyanon, Bahasasug, Bicol, Kapampangan, Chapacano, Hiligaynon, Ibatan, Kinaraya, Magindanawan, Maranao, Samad, Sinubuanong, Binisaya, Sinurigao, Tagalog, Waray, Yakan, and Ibanag. And see, Philippines has this kind of a very rich in culture, especially on these different dialects, or shall I say languages. These are just the major lingua franca that has been embedded in our ed order. But then again, we all know that there are a lot of mother tongue that we have here in the Philippines. So these are the procedure that we have done before. For actually, we have part. We have it is going to part 1 to part 4. It is divided into 4 parts. So these are the procedure for the first one. For the project process, we have the phase 1, information dissemination. So what we have done in our information dissemination, we all know that the EdTech unit is, it's just like a combination of an academic one, meaning it's more curriculum and of course in technology. So before we proceed in implementing an innovation, we have to do a what we call courtesy to our partners, our counterpart in the central office. So we have here the Bureau of Learning Delivery and the Bureau of Learning Resources, or the BLR. So what is good in here is that we are united. We want that everyone has its our, how we call this one. We have a concrete decision and a um concrete learning materials that we are going to proceed later on. Reduce. Okay, the next one we have the phase 2 is the planning session. So what we have done here is we've done a brainstorming on the project innovation with the SDOs. So specifically, this schools division offices are the San Carlos division and of course La Union division. And of course, for the phase 3, we have the face-to-face training. We have done this already. So we launched the project key. Actually, it's a simultaneous launching for 5 days, and we have that also a continuous training workshop for 5 days. And next is we have the phase 4, creation of localized learning materials. So from here, if we already got all the self-learning modules, we are going to convert these electronic modules, okay, with the inclusion of widgets and other supporting materials. And before we proceed with this, we all know that we need also our tutors, okay, and in the creation of instructional video. So meaning to say, from the hard copy of the self-learning modules that the teacher made, we are going to convert it into an electronic modules. Then after which we already have the list of the tutors. Actually, our tutors are the volunteer, the teachers of the specific STOs, okay? Because they will be the one to create the instructional video. Then, of course, we have the submission of instructional video to the EdTech unit for compression of files. But we know that all of these materials will undergo a quality assurance. So going back, the good thing of this innovation is that we have our tutor as the one who is going to facilitate with the given electronic module. But of course, we also consider the Filipino Sign Language because we want to cater also our STED. Okay, so for phase 5, we're be having the conversion to SCORM for the LMS. So specifically, we have our project lead on the learning management system. Okay, they would be our partner in conversion to SCORM for the DLMS. And of course, we will do the courtesy visits to LGUs. We do not all are in support with in our department, but of course, we also need the support of our LGUs, especially in showcasing all the output of the DepEd Commons. implementation of project yields in 17 other dialects. So maybe by next year, our timetable would be a very manic schedule because we will be going to different areas, having this different lingua franca from January to February. And of course, the review of our implementation. For the part two, we will be also having our recognition and awards. This is very, you know what? It is good that we have this because we are going also to recognize and acknowledge the effort and sacrifices of our teachers. That they will be having our national certificate. That all members who are part of this innovation will receive their certificate of recognition. And in action, those teachers who are part of this innovation will be considered as national demonstration teacher. And for the part for number three, we have also the Project Awards Day. This is what we call an awarding event will be held to recognize the best electronic module in each lingua franca. So from among the 19 lingua franca in each lingua franca, we will be considering or acknowledging or shall I say recognizing the best of the best in each lingua franca. Okay, and of course, part three, we will do the publication of a magazine that in all stages we're going to document all those events and activities as proof of our innovation. And like what we have done, we will be having our international paper presentation, and this project innovation will be presented by the proponents in international organization, like what we are doing right now. Imagine what is good in Gen TFL, that we are not just only presenting our paper, which are already done. So we can also present our paper that are maybe just in proposal stage or it's in the implementation stage. So I think later on you can also suggest or you can also recommend some of your thoughts so I can be able to maybe improve this innovation. And with this is the project development flow chart. This is the process on how are we going to submit our paper. And for the project proponents, here we are. This is a large, shall I say, a large group because we will be having our Undersecretary for Administration. We have Alena B. Pasqua. And of course, for having this in a national innovation, I have also my project innovation advisor, the deputy consultant, Ma'am Arlene Lee. Okay, she helped me go in having this comprehensive paper proposal to our leaders in the Department of Education. We also have here Director Abram YC Apadil for the Information Communications Technology Service. And of course, our head in ICDS EdTech Unit, Dr. Mark Anthony CZ, and yours truly, your proponent. And we also have here the different support from the DepEd ICDS EdTech support person, and of course, the Project E Circle. We need our colleague in each lingua franca in order for us to have an organized and very systematic result here. And with you, I would like to present with you also some of our pictures, our photos in conducting this kind of innovation. So we do some of this, we do the courtesy visit, we do the project proposal, if and only if the skills division offices would like to accept this kind of challenge. And what is good in this, they truly accept it positively, and the reason why I have my own circle. Another is we also have my committee, the different support, also the our media team. Okay, as you can see in the picture, we have different conversations with the different offices, not only with the different offices, but also with the particular particular important person in Region 1. So we have the regional director, so we have to be brave sometimes. You have all the passion in having a right communication, appropriate communication with these people, because we know that communication is the key as well to have uh this kind of innovation be successful. So with that, the what is good in this innovation, the DepEd Secretary Magtalis Brianes, it was also given us the chance to be given the recognition in our team. So it's like this. And of course, we have the conversation with the different SDO, SDS, the Schools Division Superintendent. From San Carlos City, we have Dr. Lourdes Cervito, and of course, in La Union, we have Attorney Donato Valderas and with the team. So with that, I would like to say thank you for listening in this presentation. Once again, good afternoon, and have a blessed day ahead. Right? Okay, going back to our host, members. Hi, Sir
Thank you.
Andy. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
thank you very much, VP Aprillene, for that project. It's really a nice project. Thinking that you're the proponent and doing this kind of help to our colleagues in the Philippines. Are there any questions or inputs you want to ask or you want to add?
Or maybe you can have any suggestion in order for me also to improve my project, because
All
I'm
right.
on the stage of, it's just the beginning of it. We're just having on the stage 2. It's just implementation, and for January and February, probably that would be a very manic schedule because we will be going from the Zone, Visayas, and Mindanao to cater all those lingua franca.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Aprillene.
Yes, Sir Frederick.
Ma'am, I have just one question, Ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is this new key project for the mother tongue language, right, Ma'am? Would it be easy for the parents also to teach to their children, because mom, not all the parents are really familiar with the technology, right? Would it
Yes.
be user friendly also for the parents?
Yes, it is user friendly. It is open to our parents, especially with this at Commons. What we have done before, even in our training workshop, we also include our parents, like what we have done in Iloilo just this December. If I'm not mistaken, and the first week of December, I'm in Iloilo with with our parents with our IP, and we
Yes.
have already presented with them so that they know how to manipulate, they know how to access the platform. What is good with that is we have also our teacher who are our partners, and we have the I forgot the mother tongue term, but they use this project for include with the inclusion of the word balay. So it's like
Mm,
a house to house, so they are doing it already, sir. So what is good in that area, as we have visited Iloilo, we incorporated the participation of our parents, especially the indigenous people. We to
mm,
avoid also and to encourage them to avoid discrimination, and they are more on the marginalized part. What is good in this part is that we are not only incorporating them, but we include them in this project. Maybe it's not it was not elucidated it clearly, but recently in our presentation in Iloilo City, we have this kind of communication with the parents.
okay, thank you very much, Mom. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Ma'am Aprillene.
Thank you, Doc Frederick, because thank you for reminding me, because probably in January and February, it is good also that we are going to have partners with them. This
Yes,
is
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
education
And
with
then
technology.
another concern, ma'am, is also about the teachers, because there are also some teachers who are not coming from that province. So there
That's
are there are some also teachers who are migrated. For example, there are teachers who are coming from like for example, ma'am, in my place, I am purely Tagalog. I am
yes,
coming from Quezon province. So
yes,
we have different terms that we
that's right.
use that we use. For example, ma'am, for uh for general for general dialect, for Tagalog, for example, ma'am, is maghuhugas ng pinggan.
Yes,
in
sir.
in our in our dialect, ma'am, in Tagalog, in Quezon province, we called it magdadayag.
Okay, that's great.
So
So we are all having this
yes,
kind of
ma'am.
rich
Yes,
dialect.
ma'am. So
You
so
know,
so I hope, ma'am, and I wish that also, if this will be a successful one,
yes, sir.
some words also, especially, ma'am, in Quezon province, which is
Yes, sir.
considered as really the center of Katagalugan, ma'am.
Tagalugan.
We
Yes,
have different terms in, yes,
exactly.
yes, ma'am.
And
And
even
then
here,
ma'am, we have also teachers that are migrated from the other province that will be teaching in other province. So I hope this one will also be easily will be also user friendly for those teachers who are not really familiar with the dialect, right?
yes, sir. You know what, sir? Like, for example, here in Region 1. So, in Region 1, we have 14 schools division offices. And with that, there are probably eight, if I'm not mistaken, there are eight school division offices who are using the Ilocos. But then again, not all Iloco, like you have said a while ago, there were different terminologies that has been used. Like, for example, here, the word is da in Tagalog, right? We use here in La Union, we use that sida. But
Yes,
in
ma'am.
the northern part, they say it ikan. But in Nueva Ecija, they say it lamas. But those words have the same meaning. It's just the same.
Yes.
It's just the fish that we're
Yes.
saying.
Yes,
You know
definitely,
what is good
definitely.
here? What is good here, Sir Dr. Frederick? You know what? In the Ed Commons, we have, it's like all the platforms in the Dep Ed EdTech unit, all the projects and programs. It has been there embedded, like the DepEd TV and the DepEd Titulay. Where in the DepEd Titulay, they are teaching the learners in the online tutorial. This is free online tutorial wherein they consider the Kapampangan. We have also Ilocano. We have also Tagalog. But then again, these good tutors, they are really good tutors because there are deep words in Tagalog. We could
Yes,
speak the
ma'am.
Tagalog, right? But there are
Really, really
comprehensive
deep
and
meaning.
in depth. The reason why what is good and which I learned really in our Italy tutorial sessions is that the teacher, as the picture shown there, they give the other terminology like what you have said a while ago. So I think that is also a good idea that I'm going to consider
Yes,
in
ma'am. Yes,
my
ma'am. Because
project.
because also, ma'am, for example, ma'am, I have sisters-in-law that I already have also niece that will be also grade 1 for 2 years from now, and
Yes,
I know, and her mother is from Bisaya, which is
that's
which
true.
is which is not really a pure Tagalog. so
Yes,
so so that's why, ma'am, I'm also asking, would this be also user friendly for the parents?
yes,
Because
this is truly user
mm,
friendly to our parents and even our teachers board, not really in that kind of
yes,
mother tongue.
ma'am, definitely.
Because
Because
as I go over with the self-learning modules that I've checked in the San Carlos City and here in the Ilocos region, as I have read the different self-learning modules that they have made, I've seen there the different topics such as the synonyms and antonyms. And as you can see, they have given the rich examples of those kinds of words. So what is good in having this kind of conferences is that uh, Gen TFLs not only considering and recognizing the finished study, but also the ongoing or just
yes,
merely proposal, and what is good in this kind of professional growth, like what we are doing right now. I am receiving blessings from the different speakers and audience like you, Dr. Frederick, and I'm so thankful with that. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much, ma'am. And also this is also a really big problem of our teachers, especially those who are teaching grade 1 to grade 3, especially
Exactly.
exactly, ma'am, because I also heard some of my friends who are
Yes,
also
sir.
teaching in other province that are also coming from Lucena, are coming from Quezon province, that they are teaching in grade 1, they are teaching in grade 2, grade 3. One of their biggest challenge now is how they are going to teach the mother tongue.
Exactly. You know what, sir? I'm also a teacher. Now I'm a master teacher, but I was detailed in central office. So from grade 6, I was transferred to grade 1. I taught kindergarten. So I am Ilocano and I know how to speak the language. But the fact is, how about the grammar? How
Yes,
they're
ma'am,
doing?
definitely. That is
What
correct. That is correct.
is this the correct grammar I'm going to say? Is this the right term that I'm going to teach with my learners? Because there are deep words in Iloco. There are words that cannot be truly understood. So
Yes.
what I have done before, even they have said that you are going to undergo training workshop, it is truly different if you have studied well the language. Like in
Mm.
master's degree, if you have the language teaching like that, how about the mother tongue that you are using as a teacher? I think those are some of the factors and aspects that we are going to consider. Because surely, even in mathematics, in grade 1, we are teaching the math subjects in Iloco. So there are terminal like example, the sangapu in mother tongue you say it, sangapulukot maysa, sangapulukot dua. But if you can say it in English, you can say it 11, 12. It's very easy. But you know what? There are truly different aspects. Maybe the Department of Education have seen for a long, long time ago before we do this K to 12 program, and hoping we are still hoping and looking forward that the K to 12, especially the program for the mother tongue based multilingual education, the kindergarten to grade 3, that this would be a successful one. Though, and anyway, in the beginning, it's very hard. It's the difficult how you're going to start with this, but still looking forward that we can surpass everything, especially the different challenges in our mother tongue.
Oh,
Right?
thank you very much, ma'am. This is a really good news for those teachers and parents.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. At least our Department of Education are really looking into it, or really addressing with this problem. And
That's
because this is one of the problem of the teachers and parents, those who are in the primary years, grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. Thank you
great
very
to
much,
hear.
ma'am.
Thank you as well, Dr. Frederick.
Yeah, thank you very much for that nice talk. And we hope to hear more about this in the coming years. And in our seminars and conferences, perhaps we will listen to the results of this project. Thank you very much, Ma'am Aprillene, for the project innovation. Kudos to you. Okay, so moving on. If you have questions or suggestions, or you may contact Miss Aprillene. Ma'am Aprillene, can you put your email address down below? So perhaps if they would love to
Yes.
message, they can reply or send it to you, and um, perhaps you can receive suggestions or
Yes.
about the project. Thank you very much. Okay, so the email address will be on the chat box.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. So the next speaker for today is another featured speaker, and it will be from Chi from Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh. Okay, I will turn over to her. She will introduce herself, and we'll learn more about her as well. Chi, go ahead.
Thank you, Andy. Hi, everyone. My name is Chi, and I'm currently working at an NGO, and I'm in charge of of reviewing all the documents in our communication in English, especially their reports to our donors. So today I'm gonna share with you some pointers for effective report writing, especially for financial donors. Just one moment. There we go. Before we start, I would like to emphasize a few things. This is just a personal sharing from my experience, so it's innocent any kind of teaching. And the pointers that I'm about to give you can serve as a guide for you when you write a report to financial donors. They are not the rules because report can be different from donors to donors, project to project, and organization to organization. So it can be very different, but there are a few things that are in common with all these. So that's what I'm about to share. And most importantly, this is not just work for me or work for you if you have to write a report. I do believe that with everything we do, if we can focus on doing it the best of to the best of our abilities, it will somehow become a part of our own asset, our own skill set. So yeah, hopefully you will find something helpful from my talk. And if you have any question, discussion or feedback, we can talk about it at the end of my talk. Oh, I forgot one more thing is that I developed the content for my coworkers who have no background in linguistic or language teaching. So some points in here you might find very obvious or very simple. Please don't feel offended because they were intended for a different audience, but I do think that there's things that can be helpful for you too. So for the content, we have 4 parts. Before writing, what do you have to know? What do you have to keep in mind before starting your own report? And there's some common issues and pointers for improvement. Some general suggestions that I came up with, and last but not least is some feedback and Q&A. So before writing, for any kind of writing, the most important question that a writer can ask is, who is my reader? So the first question you need to ask is, why does this financial partner support the project? Why do they support your activity? So what is their driver, or what are their drivers? What is their main motivation? And then you can start asking about their impact focus. This is very important because it can be very different from donor to donors. It can be KPI focused, meaning that you have to present them numbers. So if you fail to reach any kind of KPI, they don't really care. They just care about the number, and that's all. Some other will pay more attention to their social impact of your project or activity, meaning that does your activity or project help them alleviate poverty? Does it help bringing education to disadvantaged community? Does it improve their general health, and so on? And then there are others who focus on the economic model. Is it sustainable? Does it serve a business purpose, but also solve a social problem at the same time? And then so on. It can be very, very different from one donor to another. So it's the utmost important thing that you have to explore and have to clearly understand before writing your report. Next, we come to some external factors that might or already have affected your project. Take the case of COVID-19, it affects everything. So when I talk about this point, I want to show that your activity or your project happens in the context of a reality, and you cannot detach it from the reality that we live in. So whatever happening in the area that you're implementing the project, you need to include it in your report. For example, if you're conducting a project around an area that has a volcano and then the volcano erupts, so of course there is a natural disaster, it affects your project. So if it affects your project, then was it a positive effect or a negative effect, and in what way? So you have to show that. So in my organization, we have a project that support vocational training in automobile and electricity for disadvantaged youth. And one of the way that we support them is that we order equipment for the vocational school so that students have more access to this equipment and they can improve their skill and practice more. So the equipment must be purchased from overseas. So COVID-19 caused it a significant delay in the shipment. And during the wait, we have to come up with some other replacement activity so that we can keep the project going instead of just wait. Even though we have come up with a solution, we also need to present what the original problem was, COVID-19 delaying the shipment. So we came up with this activity. Yeah. Next part is what I usually call the quick win. So it contains all the side activities or the side impacts that your project bring. So beside the core value of your project or activity, do you plan or do you intend to conduct any side activity or impact or bring any extra impact to the beneficiary at all? So we also have another project where we train disadvantaged youth in branch bakery skill. So during the 18-month training, they will learn a technical skill that is bakery, but they also learn English, life skills. So these skills will help them find job more easily. But more importantly, we also got organized some side activity, such as training on how to recognize and report sexual harassment, training on how to take care of your reproductive health, because these are youth, they're growing up. So these side training can be very short, can be one workshop or a few workshops for them, but it brings some add-on value to the beneficiary because it can be very important for them when they go out in life and in the workplace or in any situation at all, that they can help themselves and also contribute back to the community. So these activities were not included in our proposal. It's something that we come up with along the way, but it's some good activity that we can show to the financial donor that, look, our project is doing really great work, and beyond that, so maybe there's some reason that you should support it. Over effect. So for these students, they come from a very disadvantaged background where the family have an average of 4 or 5 people. One of their parents doesn't work anymore. So once they can find a job as a 5-star hotel or a good bakery in town, they already help themselves. But sorry, I lost my connection back then. Well, this is what happened with online events, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it's normal, Chi. I guess it's
Yeah,
normal.
okay.
The new normal now.
Back to, thank God I don't have a script. Okay. Back to first thing first, who is my reader? Sometimes my coworkers, they leave out very important information because it's been said before. But what they don't really recognize that it might not be the same person that read the reports every year. And also there is a possibility that the report can be forwarded or sent to some other donors or partner that who might be interested in the project. So whenever you write, always bear in mind that just think of the reader as someone who has no background information about your activity or project. And which brings me to my next point is that sometimes people go too fast and then not provide enough information. The reader does not work with us on the field. They don't conduct the activity themselves, or they were part of our team when we do the work. So they don't really understand why you do this or why you did that or how this should be. They only understand what you give them in the report. So how do we fix this? We can present all information in a new way by also include phrases that show past achievements or development from past work. That is, if the project runs for a year or two or over a long period of time, that and you have to periodical report. And another thing that I found very funny is that to think of everything you do as a process and then present it step by step so that for the reader with no background information, they can follow us easily. And to allow them to follow us easily, we need to write short sentences that go straight to the point because the reader doesn't sit down to read a novel or a book. They're reading a report about the activities. So just go straight to the point so that they can really get the meaning and the importance of the work that we do. Next, what do they want to see in the report? Of course, first of all is the situation, the context, or you say the problem. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? What is COVID-19 do, our action and activities? Of course, the core curriculum, the core project that we presented to them in the proposal, and also some side activity that I mentioned earlier. But most important of all is what is the impact of our action or activity on the beneficiary. So sometimes I put this circle in different sizes for a purpose because the impacts is really what we need to focus on and spend time to explain. And then lower and that is the action, and the least important is the situation. So how do we improve this? For the action and activity, you can start asking yourself, what did we do? What did I do for this? And then you can ask yourself, what else? By asking what else, you will find yourself trying to find more and more and more answer. And that's how you list out all the things that you or your team have done. What challenges that you face or the team face, or can you anticipate any challenges in the future? How do you overcome, or how do you plan to overcome? And then when we go to the impact of on the beneficiary, we can say, how did they benefit? What was the purpose of our action? How will I usually try to and my coworker to write in a way that can show the sustainability of the project and the lasting impacts of the activity or the work that we do on the beneficiary. It's not just something that we graduated this number of students and that I really do think the
No.
universe is testing me.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Okay, please bear with me. We're almost there.
And thank you for that.
And yeah, and then the most important question you can ask about the impacts on the good intention in mind, but then did they really welcome what you do for them? Did they really benefit? Yeah. Another point was very interesting for my coworkers because they don't have background in linguistic and language, so they don't really see the difference between active and passive voice and what the meaning or message that these different voices can carry. So with active, we are claiming some responsibility, some agency, or showing autonomy of the subject. And then we have the passive voice where the responsibility is withdrawn and we don't show any agency or autonomy of the subject at all. And then which one do we use for whom? So for the active, we use for the team or the beneficiary. And for the passive voice, we usually use it for the context or the problem. For example, with COVID-19, of course, there is travel ban.
Okay, we're very sorry for that. Internet connection. I think it's really the universe, as she said, is testing her. She just actually landed from her flight from another project, and she actually sent a recording, but she would prefer to go live today. So, for those who have missed this session, we will be posting the recording in our on our website so you can watch it full soon. So I think there is a really good connection from the first presentation of Miss Aprellene to creating projects and into writing projects in the end. It's really nice to hear from this experienced people sharing their ideas. Again, as our VP said a while ago, Gen TFL don't accept only research made presentations, but also in progress or in process or concepts. The reason why we need to present these things is because we want to get ideas, we want to enhance, we want to improve our paper before publishing it or before putting it into final paper. Although we also accept finished research papers, I mean completed research papers, we also accept um, concept papers. or or ideas or projects or proposals, so we can try to help also in developing them into better papers. So I think that's her. If you've got questions you might want to, or if you have inputs also, you might want to share ideas about how to write um, clear papers or writings or project report. Sometimes it's quite difficult to say, how can I start writing a report after doing a proposal or after finishing a project? Now it comes with the ending, writing reports, and sometimes it's quite complicated. But this would help us also write and tips from those experienced colleagues of ours. Okay, so I think her internet is really not working now. So for the complete session of her presentation, please wait for the uploads within the day on our website. Okay, so that is the final presentation we have for today. And for the final, and before we go for closing, let me just go with our programs at Gen TFL.
I'm back. Andy, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay. I'll just turn my camera off so that we can be a bit more stable.
Okay, so she will continue finishing her report. We're coming back.
Apology to the speaker who come after me.
No, you will be the last, so it's fine.
Okay, yeah, okay. Woof. Okay.
Go ahead, Chi.
So, and then on the right, we have 3 different sentences. The student were trained first at school. So we use passive voice. The student have no agency or autonomy at all. And then the student received a first aid training. It sounds a bit more active, but receive is a passive verb. They just sit and they receive. They really no action to take. And then we have the student participated in a first aid training. So this one showcase more autonomy and agency from the point of view of the students. So it portrays the student to our financial donor that these are independent and autonomous youth. They really take part in something. They take some kind of action. They don't just go to the school and they receive a training. And next we have what do I want to say in this paragraph. Sometimes we think that the more information we give is the better. But we also need to bear in mind that one focus per sentence or paragraph would be so much more better, because that's when we have more time to elaborate. So in order to improve this, we need to be selective and reasonable with ourselves, really reasonable with ourselves. Just choose one focus and try to elaborate it. You can always write another point. You can always write all the information that you want to write, but try to arrange it in a suitable way so that each point can shine. Some question to ask is that, did I give my intended message the attention it deserved? Do I have to give myself extra explanation when rereading this paragraph? So once we're done with the writing, we usually try to review it by rereading it. But if we find ourselves giving some extra explanation that is not written in the report, that's when we know that we have missed out something. The information is not clear. So if it's not clear for us, it is also not clear for the reader. And of course, with everything that you have done writing, ask yourself, so what? So I did this. So what? What the point of your action was, the point of your activity. So I tell them about this wonderful workshop that I did for the beneficiary. Then so what? So this question will bring us back to the focus of the report, that is the impact on the beneficiary. Next part, we have some general suggestions. So with sentence, I do believe that short sentences are better than one long sentence. But then, of course, it really depends on the writing skill of each writer. So if you think that you can write one really long sentence and can still make your point convey or understand, then just go for it. And then number two, if it can be said in fewer words, always say it in fewer words, so that the easier for the sentence is for people to understand, the better it is. And then number three, important things first and then additional information later. So at my organization, my coworkers are French or who speak French as their first language. And the structure in French is kind of very lengthy comparing to English. And my coworker have a tendency of adding a lot of adverbial phrases or ready clauses to the sentence. And then the main clause is very short and it's just somewhere in between in the sentence. And when you read a sentence like that, the key message is just lost in the pile of information. So what I suggest them to do is that to bring the main clause to the front of the sentence, and then they can add more information in the back of the sentence, or just write another sentence. And then with paragraph, again, focus on one thing, use signaling connectors and follow the structure with the situation, task, action, and result. And most important of all is that with each paragraph, we need to really show and highlight the development or the impact of the work. Next, we have the illustration. So with every claim that we make, we need to back it up with concrete example. And if we're using information or statistic from external sources, we need to cite the source. Next, with any problem or issue that you see or you can anticipate, try to provide a solution. Either is a concrete, meaning that you already know how to solve it, or it can be anticipated, meaning that this is how you plan to overcome. Because the readers are the people who give us the money to solve some kind of problem. They don't want us to show them more problem without any solution at all. And if we cannot provide any solution, there really no point in them giving us the fund. And number three, which can be different from organization to organization, but at mine, we try to make sure that no photo is used twice. These photos are of the activity of the beneficiary. So it's very important that we make sure that no photo is used twice so that the donors can see that we actually did the work. We're not just talking about it or just making things up. Yeah, and that's bring me to the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening and thank you for the patience with me. If you have further discussion or any feedback, you can email me to the address on the screen. And now if you have any question or just want to have a discussion, I'm here to answer you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief, for that. Are there any questions or any inputs you might want to share? Okay, having none, perhaps if you've got questions, she posted already her email address on the screen a while back, but if you weren't able to catch that, Chi, could you please write your email on the chat box? They might want to get your email address and share some of their thoughts or ideas, or might share something with you. Um,
Yeah, sure, sure. I'm typing it in the chat box.
Thank you. Okay, so Chi's email is on our chat box. You might want to copy that and save it for later. Are there any questions? Inputs? None? Okay, so that is the last and final speaker for today. Now, thank you very much, all presenters and speakers. You will be receiving all your certificates within today. Please wait for our emails. If there are some questions regarding typos or anything, please contact info@gentfl.org for the corrections, most especially with our book of abstracts and perhaps your names on the book of abstracts or on schedules. Please let us know so we can finalize the final copy of the book of abstracts. For those who haven't submitted yet, also their bio statement or their abstracts, and you would love them to be placed on the book of abstracts, please send us also within the day. So we will add them to the book of abstracts. For the live streaming, it will be closed soon, so all the recordings will be on the website. The password would be GNTFL 2021 caps lock. You can watch them there. Also, we will be placing all the recordings for this conference on YouTube channel of GenTFL. It will be live streaming on the 15th of December and 16th of December. So if you'd love to go watch them and go back and listen to what you've missed, perhaps you can do so. Okay, so to the final thing, let me share with you. There. Okay, so we said yesterday that we will be sharing. Where is it? Sorry. Okay, so about the programs of GenTFL. Now, what is GenTFL? GenTFL is actually an organization of teachers of English as a foreign language, but we also include multidisciplinary as we come across different subjects and courses. So this is our website. You know, you've been checking them. Our saying is a gathering of educators innovating, connecting, and mentoring. So mostly there are a lot of young teachers in this organization, but we're also looking for mentors. So even if you're young, if you've got something, we know that you can mentor also other colleagues. As all of us have our expertise, we can share them and we learn from them. This is our vision to become a premier network of transformational educators in the field of language teaching. And the mission is for research, conferences, meetings, seminars, webinars, and workshops. For this year, we haven't done any seminars yet because of the pandemic, even webinars. So if there are any volunteers there listening, would you love to share anything to the group? You may send us your proposals so we could schedule your session with us on webinars. If there are workshops also that you want, perhaps in your organization or your schools or your department, we might ask us. We can send you some speakers. We've got lists of uh, colleagues from different parts of the world. So and different uh, majors and backgrounds. So we could share them, or we could ask anyone who would be willing to do workshops or webinars or seminars or trainings with you. Um, of course, our goal is to connect, innovate, and mentor, to conduct seminars, webinars, and trainings, to organize such these international conferences, and publish quality research papers. We have our publication called Gen TFL Journal. Again, we would like to ask speakers today, if you would love to publish your papers, please go to www.gentfljournal.com. That's com, not org. The org is for the organizational website, but for the the publication website is with .com and with journal. Um, we are applying for in process of applying for indexing and for the cross-ref. So perhaps next year we will be having the DOI with our journal, and each papers would be also having their own DOI for referencing. To strengthen, also expand partnerships. As of now, we are in partner with the USPF. Thank you very much. They're still here. Dr. Janet Arcana, a representative from USPF, the University of Southern Philippines Foundation. Thank you so much for your support and partnership with us. And also Talisay City College. They were here yesterday also. And to the University of Radyo Magaling University of Technology. They weren't able to join us this conference this year because of the pandemic, but they are aiming to be part of the conference next year. And we are also having a lot of MOUs with different organizations, such as the Junior Chamber International, Bawang Fruit Basket, and we also have MOUs with the ELTI, English Language Teachers Association of India, which are also member of TEFL. We are an associate of the TEFL in the UK, and we are also under the Union of International Associations as one of the international organizations based in Belgium, Brussels, which is also, this is under the mandate of the United Nations. So you can go check also, we are there listed in their book of listed international organizations or associations. So as I said, we are in MOUs with different universities, and also with ELTI India and JCI Bawang Fruit Basket. We have four types of membership, or three. We have junior membership. This is a free membership for senior high school and university level students who would love to start their research trainings or presentation skills. So we welcome them. We have also the junior member, full members, wherein they can they pay also some membership fees for more support. And for full members, also we have full members for Gen TFL. You can find this all in the website. We have special interest groups. This is what we do. Special interest groups are not really well working this time because of the pandemic, but last year we have the train the trainers special interest groups with Professor Brzezinska. She's from Poland. She's the head of the special interest groups, and they're training interested individuals who would love to train also other colleagues. Um, we have the Gen TFL publications, as I mentioned earlier. We have outreach program. However, we are limited with resources and projects. However, we have plans on doing English camps and helping other schools wherever needed. With the outreach program, also we have plans and ongoing project with Indonesian railway system, wherein they are looking for exchange teachers to help them out with the English language teaching with students for railway systems in Indonesia. However, because of the pandemic, it was a little bit postponed for now, waiting for further announcement for um, or development. Um, we're also having some MOUs with other universities where they are looking for exchange teachers, like 2 months, 3 months exchange programs for lecturers to experience different countries or different cultures from different countries. So that's part. Also, we have continuing professional development. We have TESOL, postgraduate diploma. We are coordinating with other universities also to help us with this kind of programs. And perhaps one time we would be offering courses where it's accredited by other universities also for units or perhaps a professional development points. Um, we have the international conferences. We have the ELT Congress. What's ELT Congress? ELT Congress actually is a yearly activity also, wherein we present techniques, methodologies, and best practices for English language teaching concentration only. Um, for the international education conferences, this is where we concentrate on, not concentrate, this is more open than the ELT. It's for English language teaching only. For the Gen TF International Conference, it's mostly on research based. Um, but for the international education conferences, we accept multidisciplinary for math, science, and all subject areas. We have trainings, again, that's mentioned already. We have the Book of Abstracts for publication, the materials for development SIGs. This is what we want to help from you. If you've developed any materials and games perhaps or quizzes that you would love to publish with and share with other people, please send it to us so that we can publish it with our materials development, and anyone can download this from our website. For now, we haven't received any materials yet from different courses. However, we have already some, and some submitted already their materials, and we are still trying to recreate them so that it for check, because of course we're afraid of plagiarism and copyright things with the photos and everything. So the editorial board also are trying to see these things before it gets published on our website. But we welcome any materials that you created so people can share, most especially with Creative Commons, so we can use them or reuse them for the benefit of our learners. For the Gen TFL journal, it is a refereed journal with editorial board. We have a new editorial board chief of editorial. We have Mom Michelle here from Macau Tourism Institute of Macau. Thank you so much for accepting this big task in becoming our editor-in-chief for the journal. We're also thinking of accepting research papers for students, high school and university level. That would be another journal not included in the Gen TFL journal. For the special interest groups, we have trained the trainers. As we said, if you would love to train others also, if you have skills, we are pleading that you volunteer, send this message if you want to join any of our literature, our special interest groups, I should say. We also have here Vice President Aprellene. She's also the chair for Literary SIG. If you are keen into literature or poetry or creative writing, please contact her. So you would help also in the development of the literary or literature SIG. For the Psych Central also for most especially with people who are into helping mental health or spiritual advices, please join the Psych Central also. Um, the Psych Central is quite busy now, but we are trying to make a collaboration also with Miss Vithaya. She's in Sri Lanka right now, and they're a little bit in problem also with the pandemic. So if you are interested in joining the Psych Central, you join us also. If there are others, like we don't have yet mathematics, I asked Sir Marjan a while ago if they would love to create also special interest for mathematics or for others. I forgot here, Dr. Fred, for the Dr. Fred, are you still here? For the science, teaching in ELT in science. But if we also have other science teachers concentrating for science teaching, we would love also to welcome them for the special interest groups to help teachers with sciences, with social studies, with any other subjects. So if you are willing to create and head the special interest groups, please contact us. Okay, so that's all for the Gen TFL, and we would love also to welcome you all to submit your abstracts again for May. I think it's on the book of book of abstracts. Our information will also be available on the website and on Facebook channels and YouTube channels for the May IEDCON, the International Education Conference, and the 6th Gen TFL International Conference will be in Macau next year. That will be in December, on December 11 and 12. The information will be available as soon as it's ready. So I would like to thank you all for joining and attending this conference. And even though, as I said, we have a terrible session of recreating and regenerating this conference, because it's planned to be a hybrid one, and many backed out because of the pandemic and the uncertainty of this Omicron variant. Many preferred to withdraw their presentation. That's why we are quite a few, but I really thank you, and thank you very much for all the presentations, for all the speakers who did a very well good job for sharing your experiences, your research papers, your expertise, and your ideas. Thank you also for the participants, and I thank everyone for participating in this conference. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. I hope to see you one day, and I hope the conferences will be back again to normal and not the new normal soon. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and hope to see you again. Goodbye. Kap.
Thank you.
And can we have a picture taking?
Oh yeah, sure, please. Could you, for those who are here, could you turn on your cameras for a picture taking?
Okay.